Hey, John.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Ray.
How we
Hey,
doing?
Mike.
Good. You?
Doing good here. Just went and let the fuel guy in the gate to the power plant there.
Good.
Yeah, we're actually under $3 a gallon. I'm shocked. We unexpected to be. Yeah. Yeah, Alphen had a better price. They were 285 and good God, Pierce was 316 or something, or 326. It was a no-brainer. That's a lot of money. It's like three grand.
Did you do any extra?
License.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're getting her filled up, so that's good.
Oh, good. That is awesome news. That's what we needed.
Yeah, I know. No, it'd be nice if it stayed that way, but no, it's good to get one more and stretch that out another month and a half, so that'll be good.
Sure.
I think we're just waiting. Oh, Alexa's here. So we're good there. She's on. So once she gets ready.
I am ready. As ready as I'll ever be.
The clock says 12 noon, so Alexa, it's up to you.
Okay, well, welcome everyone
Hi, Alexa.
to the board meeting. And welcome to all our guests, some of whom I know, other ones I don't, but either way, welcome. I guess I'm calling the meeting to order and we'll do a roll call of the board members. Could we like not do this anymore with only 3 board members? I can just announce that we're all here. But since it's on the agenda, roll call of board members. Who wants to go first? Am my camera not on?
Yeah, I can't see you.
Okay, here I am.
There you go.
Mike Morlang, I'm present.
Amy.
Amy Golden present.
Yeah, and Alexa Wilson, and I'm here as well. I just need to reach back and grab something. Okay, well, adoption of the agenda. Anyone have any comments on the agenda? I think we've all seen it. If not, maybe we can have a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion. Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented, Madam Chair.
I second.
Okay, everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, approval of the minutes. I thought they were fine. As they are presented. So I guess we need a motion for that as well. To approve the minutes from February special meeting when we adopted the rate change resolution.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the February meeting.
I second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that goes fast. Okay, procedures for handling electronic participation. We don't have a proper anchor location. We can do that under Utah code. And they haven't withdrawn that, so we're still doing that. Public comment. We welcome public comment, 15 minutes, 3 minutes per person. No question and answer. Either raise your hand or start speaking, or we have a very small group, so don't have to be too formal about it. Anyone wants to say anything?
I do, Alexa.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
Just to address one item you've got on the agenda for today, I think is the trying to straighten out the billing for garbage or solid waste for North Lake Powell. And I just wanted to reiterate the original agreement that was made in 2016 was that North Lake Powell, and the agreement was made with Dave Curtis that North Lake Powell is going to supply its own trash services to the four entities that were mentioned, which I believe was the Lodge, Moki's, the C-Store, and boat storage. That's the only written agreement that was made. I realize that North Lake Powell now says that they've been hauling trash from other parts of town, and they're trying to get a rebate on some of the residential trash removal. And I just feel it's unfair to offer a refund or to exempt one group of residential folks from other group of residential folks. Yeah, I think you're opening a can of worms here. If you allow North Lake Powell to not have to pay for hauling trash for their residential units in Tickaboo, then what does that prevent you from allowing any other resident in Tickaboo, myself, anybody, any other resident that rents or doesn't rent, to come to the district and say, I'm hauling my own trash, I'm taking it out of town. For me, for instance, I can say, I mean, if I came to you and said, I'm here for a couple months out of the year, don't really want to pay for the trash, so I'll haul my own. I mean, are you going to do it individual by individual? And then how are you going to recoup the loss of income from that? I don't think that you can differentiate between one member of a class of service and another. That's all I've got to say there. I mean, the board, we made an agreement, the board signed, the agreement was signed. That's the only signed agreement we've had. If there was an error made and the commercial end was recharged for hauling some of that garbage, I don't mind, maybe we should consider refunding them. But just to give them a blanket refund on everything that's being claimed without not seeing anything in writing, and you've got board members, I believe that the other two board members were on the board at that time, have also verified that that was the only agreement that was made. And if not, I see they're both here today. You can ask them. And then the second item that I've got to offer to you, but we'll let the second item go. I'll just communicate with you in an email on that. But that's the most important thing. So that's all I've got to say.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anyone else?
Yeah, Alexa, Gene Babelis.
Gene, go ahead, please.
Hey, I just want to throw in my support for whatever this board does in interpreting it. That opening up the barn doors for other people, that's ludicrous. This is an agreement that was entered into. It's in writing. It totally is on its own. And I think that because of the vaguity and the things that happen, I've talked to Ray a little bit about it too, because I was a little bit concerned. It seems to me that that we have a board here now that we trust and have been impaneled, and they should go through that contract to make a determination and then use their wisdom in doing that. And I think that everybody will be supportive of that. I think that that's what you guys need to do, and that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Jane. Anyone else? If no other members of the public want to speak, I'm gonna close the public comment period. So,
Alexa, I would like to say something just briefly before you do.
okay, Margaret, go ahead.
Jean, I feel like the way you expressed that was implying that we don't or did not have trust in the previous board, and that's simply not true. That's all I wanted to say. We trusted that board. We were not happy with how it all ended. It doesn't mean we don't trust the board now, but I do not really like hearing that. That implicit that we did not trust the previous board. That's all.
Okay,
Well,
thank you, Margaret.
I'd like to do a brief response. You know, it doesn't matter if you didn't trust them. They entered into an agreement that's in dispute.
Mm.
And now they've left it to our board now. It's not that we didn't, well, I didn't trust them. I think they pulled some shenanigans that were ridiculous. But on the side note, I think this board is now been entrusted with the obligation to go through and find out what they need to and let them do it.
Okay, Jean, I think everyone gets one turn at the microphone. So we're trying to make our rules about public comment a little bit more strict. So, but thank you for that comment. Anyone else? I would almost say speak now or forever hold your tongue, but that's of course not true. But for this meeting,
Thank
this is
you,
it.
John, for getting us good price on diesel.
Okay.
Second time. Oops.
Okay, let's move on from public comment. We'll consider it closed now. Item number 6 is the audit of our financial records for 2023 by Hinton Burdick. I'm completely in shock of the price. And I guess for now, this is it. We drafted or I should not say we, John drafted it. I should not walk away with the credit for that. A motion, which I am now going to pull up. Shall I share that? Do we think that's a good idea?
Yeah, you can, Alexa. We just didn't make sure that that I have the right number as far as the resolution itself, but just use the same language, that's proper language from years
I
past. So
think, let me find the share screen function. There. Are you now seeing my screen here where I'm doing circles?
yes.
Excellent, sir.
Okay, good. It's really very simple. We have to have our records audited every year by state law. And I don't know how many years in the past, but several years in the past, we've asked Hinton Burdick CPAs and advisors to do that. And they have been charging $10,000, but this year it's $12,400. I guess everything, all prices go up for them as well. So for this year, I don't think there's time enough to look into other options, but it just seems like an awful lot of money. I calculated you can have an auditor for $250 an hour work on our records for 6 days, and I really don't know what one can look at for 6 days at our records, but if you know what to look for. So anyway, this was for this year, that is the price, and the proposed motion is to accept the price, enter into an agreement with them, and get to work on providing all the information they need, and then come back on a next meeting and present the findings. And board members or John or Ray, anything to add to that?
I'll just comment. Yeah, in the future, once we get things straightened out, which we're well on the way, we can look at other options. It is between paying Larson the 9,000. We did cut it from 12, and this together, it's a lot. And of course, Larson we're working on get our own QuickBooks, they can't produce financials on time. Looking back, it looks like they really never have, going back to years ago. When they were doing monthly financials, they were still 2 months behind, and they've been behind this year too. So I think we get handed off to the newest intern, it looks like too. So yeah, the first step in cutting our accounting cost is looking at on QuickBooks. And then we can produce financials on time, and then looking at the audit from there to save even more money. But the audit is required.
Yeah.
That's part of the process. So
Yeah, I think we need to start engaging that a little sooner, because if it goes up any higher, we have to get an RFP.
Yeah, I think we might want to do next year. We
Yeah.
might want to think at the end of the year, and maybe even as early as November, to start putting
Yeah.
it out there, see if we can find somebody to do it at a somewhat more reasonable price. And we may find that this is market rate, who knows, but for now, I think we should just go with these guys. This resolution comes with, it's exactly the same letter we got last year,
correct.
but it does ramble on for many pages, and we'll put that on the public notice site, so everybody who wants to fall asleep at night can access that. Amy, Mike, anything to add to that?
Pretty straightforward.
Amy?
I have nothing. Thank you, Alexa.
Okay, anybody feels like making a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution, basically hiring Hinton Burdick to do our audit for 2023-24. That'll be all.
Okay,
I second.
okay, everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye, okay. Well, that was easy. Paying is gonna be the hard part on that. There we go. This one is gonna be more involved, so we're gonna move on to item number 7. It's a proposed resolution about ending working towards a solution of our dispute, our billing dispute with North Lake Powell. I have written out an extensive narrative just for our records, so that we know exactly, based on what we could decide to accept this resolution. Shall I just go through it really quick? Is that of interest to anyone? I think I should just do that. Can everybody read this? This
Yes.
is
Yes.
really small on the screen. Okay, so in 2010, TUID and what was then called Tickaboo Resort, throughout this motion and this resolution, I've just called it North Lake Powell, just for simplicity's sake. Had reached an agreement about the commercial solid waste fees. Part of it was that they would invest in a dumpster, and then periodically empty that out and take it to the landfill. At that time, it was just the lodge and the grill and the boat storage, and a dumpster was located in the lodge parking lot and in front of the boat excuse me, the boat storage. And that is completely clear. Everybody agrees on that. Where it becomes a little bit more ambiguous is under B and C, where North Lake Powell acquired additional property to run their hotel and other businesses further south. North Lake Powell acquired a number of residences in the town and worked with Garfield County and the Public Service Commission to have that approved as one commercial entity for power purposes. At that time, on the assumption that now it was regarded as commercial property along with the front end properties, North Lake Powell acquired another dumpster and put that in the general area of the rental and employee housing that they had acquired, and started moving all the stuff to the landfill, just like the waste from the other commercial entities. A little later, the RV park was added to the exempt commercial accounts, which is what I called where the accounts where they were all under one power arrangement. And again, North Lake Powell placed another dumpster at the RV park and arranged for transport to the landfill. So, and now I'm moving to point D. North Lake Powell has consistently maintained those 4 dumpsters in the described locations and has arranged for transportation of the waste that landed in there to the landfill. And the last sentence of the description under D is very important. That arrangement has been known to TUID during that time. And in response to that, I'm kind of sliding into number E. At some point, management of TUID decided that the RV park and the commercial housing should not be charged garbage fees, and took those fees off. Now, where I believe TUID went wrong is that was not mentioned to North Lake Powell management at the time. And I'm guessing that was because if TUID had mentioned that, then North Lake Powell would have said, well, we need some money back from you. So that went on for a little while, and at some point, and there is no record of what precipitated another change in the billing, the garbage fees were reinstated for all the rental and employee housing. And again, no mention of that was made to the account holder. And I think that is where TUID's greatest liability is. I get notices from my gas company when they refund me 70 cents, which I think is a good waste of a stamp. But they do that because they have to. If you change people's billing, then a utility needs to inform the account holders. And on 2 occasions, I believe that has not happened. There is no record of it. The people in charge at that time do not remember that. And, you know, I believe that has not happened, and I think our biggest risk is in the area of non-disclosure. So North Lake Powell has disputed all garbage fees on the mentioned accounts going back to the date of the original agreement, and has requested reimbursement of those fees. I believe, and I've stated that under F, that based on this whole story, those fees were inappropriately charged. They should not have been charged. Notice should have been given of changes in the billing parameters, and we just need to fix it. So the way to fix that is to quit charging fees that we should never have charged in the first place, starting January 2024. And of course, North Lake Powell will be required to keep doing what they've been doing since 2016. Just keep taking care of their own trash in their commercial areas. And we need to come to an agreement with North Lake Powell about what to do about the fees that they have paid so far. They have made a very generous offer to be patient and take it out of future connection fees. The details of that arrangement have not been worked out, and we need to work on that the coming months. And I have listed all the accounts it pertains to. And my proposal is to only add accounts to that list to avoid future confusion by mutual explicit agreement. And that is, so that is my proposal. Do any of my fellow board members have any comments, questions, opinions that they'd like to discuss at this time?
Could you scroll down a little more so we can see Exhibit B? Thank you.
As a board member, I don't have any further questions, Alexa. Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I've got some thoughts I'd just like to convey, and there were many, so I wrote them down. I'll read them off.
Okay.
I
Okay.
apologize. I'm just getting over a nasty cold and kind of might have to clear my throat a little bit every once in a while.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Glad you're
Oh,
feeling
thank you.
better.
Yeah, I'm on the mend now, but it's been hanging with me for a while. Okay, so, and some of this might be repetitive based on, your proposal, Madam Chair. Basically, the research I've done in 2013, TUID and then Tickaboo Resorts entered into an agreement for single electric metering for all their accounts at rate schedule 10. This only included power. Water, sewer, solid waste were not included and continue to be charged for each service location or ERU. Under this agreement, the resort was not allowed to provide or contract service for electricity, water, sewer, or solid waste with any other company, including themselves. Fast forward to 2016, TUID and Tickaboo Resorts came to a written mutually beneficial agreement to allow Tickaboo Resorts to provide dump trailers and haul their own solid waste for the 4 specified accounts: the boat shop, lodge, base camp, Mokies. And TUID would not charge the base rate for solid waste for those accounts. Excuse me. It was a testament to our mutual understanding and respect for each other's roles. However, it's important to note that this agreement did not include future and other Tickaboo Resort accounts. Fast forward to 2017, Tickaboo Resorts began hauling solid waste from the mobile home park without a prior agreement or approval from the board or management of TUID. After consultation with 3 prior trustees, I discovered that they have all expressed that the 2016 document was meant for the identified accounts and benefited TUID by not having to provide dumpsters at those locations. They also stated that sometime in 21, the solid waste container that TUID still operates for residential solid waste was being used by Tickaboo Resorts and patrons. As a result, TUID began billing solid waste for all Tickaboo Resorts accounts. Making an agreement that is mutually beneficial is one thing. However, giving NLP a concession that other customers with the same class of service are not able to take advantage of is wrong, discriminatory, and does not serve the district's best interest or follow the current rules and tariffs we have in place. Zoning designations made by Garfield County for tax and land purposes does not in any way reflect billing descriptions or rates at which consumers will be charged by TUID. TUID sets its rates in account description based on our rate schedule, and we currently do not have a commercial residence rate. No written agreement exists between TUID and Tickaboo Resorts regarding the removal of solid waste fees for any of their residential employee housing or rentals. All TUID customers, including standby customers, pay these base fees for garbage, sewer, water, and electricity. The base rates that TUID customers are currently pay are designed to keep TUID solvent. TUID is not in a position to allow customers to provide services that we offer within the district boundaries. And I would also like to say notice was given by billing for services. That's a standard that's been set and a precedent that's been set in the utility industry. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Did you, if you have that written out, can we just add that?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to have that for public record.
Yeah. It's a little dense, so I have a little. Can you pull that up on your screen, or you just have that on a piece of paper?
See the paper right now. You, as soon as the meeting's over.
Yeah, and I'd like to discuss it, but it went a little fast for me to. Can you go back to When you go back to where you said something was done in 2021 without approval? And read that again for me.
2017, Tickaboo Resorts began hauling waste from mobile home park without prior agreement or approval from the board or management of TUID. There's nothing written. There's no meeting minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the best resource we have are the prior board members, and I've spoken with all 3 of those that were currently on board.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the unfortunate fact that there are lots of minutes and documents missing makes the fact that there are no meeting minutes or formal approval makes it a little problematic in my mind. So what my response to why I think that is not the only determining factor is that the reality that was observed by everyone and known by everyone kind of contradicts the fact that there was not an agreement between the parties, whether it was written down or not. I mean, the reality is, and previous management saw that happening on the ground every day, to the point where there are emails about previous management complaining that people throw trash in the wrong dumpster. and that there were plans to label the dumpsters, which I believe North Lake Powell did, and TUID did not. So the I think the reality on the ground that was seen and observed by everyone kind of trumps the fact that there are no written documentation of this agreement. And then the reality on the ground got acknowledged by TUID by taking off the fees at some point. And then, and I don't want to make this too personal, but I can just see the previous manager stomp into his office and go, I'm gonna add this all back in. I mean, so, and the fact that there was no communication about either taking the fees off and putting them back on is kind of puts us in a very awkward position. So this combined with the fact that Tickaboo Resort or North Lake Powell has made a very generous offer to settle this dispute. I just don't think we can afford to not do what I believe is the right thing as written out there. So and I have one more thing to say about the whole, I agree that the fact that you arrange that you agree for one thing about power doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree on that same thing for anything else, any other services. But again, there is the reality on the ground that speaks louder than anything else, to me at least. And the core of the argument and the reality is that a house used in a commercial setting for rental housing or employee housing is not in the same class as individual residences, in individual using a house as a residence. So while I agree you can't make distinctions between accounts of the same class, the core of the argument is that a rental house or an employee or a house used as employee housing is not in the same class. So that's kind of how that works in my brain. I think that is all that I have to say at this point. Amy,
We're going to vote on this today, correct?
that was the plan.
May I make a very brief statement?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Because of the concern of a potential conflict of interest, because I am a GM at North Lake Powell, I consulted with Caden Figgins and the county commissioners about, should I be on this board? And yes. Should I vote on this issue? Yes. And Caden sent me this Utah State Legislature ruling 17B-1-311. It says, no elected or appointed member of the Board of Trustees of a special district may, while serving on the board, be employed by the district, whether as an employee or under a contract. However, because we are a special district with fewer than 3,000 people in the state living within 40 miles of the special district's boundaries, or primary place of employment measured overall whether public roads and with respect to the employment of a board of trustees member under subsection 1, I am exempt. So just to alleviate any thoughts of a conflict of interest charge being brought to me, and I know other people have talked to Mr. Figgins and the commissioners about this as well. So let's put it to rest, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. John, would you briefly describe the process you went through and Connie went through to audit the accounts?
Yeah, Alexa, it's really more Connie going through the paperwork. It's an actual audit, as you said, and going back and looking at you know, what was charged and when, and then also looking for any kind of communications or records. As you'd mentioned, to show anything formally in writing that showed anything different. Of course, we couldn't find any records, and then the audits just showed you know, the on and off again charging. We did a formal audit you know, after the billing was questioned, as we do
So
for
do I understand
any
that
account.
you performed this audit at the request of North Lake Powell?
Correct. Yeah, we didn't see it either, obviously, and we usually don't. I mean, there's been other examples of customers bringing up charges that we do the same thing, you know, too. We go through to make sure they're charged properly. And, you know, sometimes we explain the charge to them, and then sometimes we change it because there was a mistake, you know, made in the billing. RVS can do that on its own without any help from human hands at times too. But yeah, we just followed the same process. Anybody that wants to know about their bill, we actually, RVS has an audit function that can go back a couple of years, and we'll even print it off and email it to them and, you know, cover it with them too. So we use that same process.
Okay, any of the board member or management company want to say anything else about this?
You know, Alexa, I didn't mention that I would like to have a conversation to update the current 2016 agreement with NLP for the 4 accounts and adding the RV park officially to that agreement.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna, I think what we need to do in the coming months is formalize. If we end up adopting the resolution, I believe we need to work with North Lake Powell to settle the disputed claims. And we can formalize whatever we're going to do going forward, all in one agreement, and make that part of the record. Because we do not want our successors to be in the same situation we're in. They're trying to figure out what happened many years ago.
Sure. Yeah, I was just thankful that I was able to contact the board that was seated at the time and get some information from them as well.
Right. Anyone else who wants to say anything before I'm gonna ask for a motion? No, so because this is I've written the whole thing. Maybe I should take ownership this time and make a motion myself. So I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-02 regarding North Lake Powell solid waste fees as was just presented.
I second the motion.
Okay, maybe we should do a formal vote, state your name and yes or no, or A and nay, or whatever form of positive, negative you want to use.
Amy Golden, yes.
Mike Morlang, nay.
And Alexa Wilson, I vote in favor, and that means that the resolution is adopted. Alexa Wilson, Amy Golden in favor, and Mike Morlang opposed.
I will get you that letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Just gotta
Then we-
type it up. It's all handwritten.
Yeah, well, you can also just scan it and we'll use it as is.
Okay.
Whatever is most convenient for you. Thank you, everyone. And this was a difficult issue. Everyone has spent a lot of time on it, and I'm glad that we can at least move forward. Board reports. Amy, Mike, I need to take a sip of water. So if anybody has anything to say.
Nothing new from me.
I have a couple of things, Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
We've been exploring options regarding water rights. We spoke to Wayne County Commissioner Dennis Blackburn and explained our predicament. He was very understanding. because
Dennis, sorry, Dennis Blackburn, is he,
Wayne County Commissioner.
Wayne County?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, we're thinking outside the box here.
okay, cool.
And he put us in contact with Roger Bryan, who is another Wayne County Commissioner. He sits on the Wayne County Water Conservancy Board. He also owns part of the cattle camp that is north of our gates here. They purchase water from us. So apparently Wayne County was given rights to 55,000 acre feet for the creation of a reservoir in 1962. It never materialized. So they've been leasing to people in Wayne County and Green River. They have not sold any of these rights to date, but are not opposed to that concept. Mr. Bryan was very sympathetic to us because of how we lost our water rights and felt it wouldn't be a problem to lease 500 to 700 acre feet from the Wayne County rights. He also mentioned that we could discuss a purchase if that suited our needs more. He stated that the lease could be for as long as we desired, and the cost would probably be around $1,000 to $5,000 with annual payments. So the next step would be to
Say those numbers again.
1,000 and 5,000 to be paid annually. He couldn't give us a specific. If this is something we're interested in, we can delve into it further, and we would need to make a presentation to the Board of Commissioners of Wayne County.
Those are definitely manageable numbers.
Yeah, it's good water. It's the same water we have here. We would have to pay for the diversion of it with our attorneys. They would have to set that up. That would be the only thing. So this is a good backup solution. If it would be a second solution to, I know we've been working with Sitla as well. And also we spoke with Phil Lyman, and there are options in Juan County or San Juan County as well. So just starting to think ahead a little bit.
Oh, that is really good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because it does look like we're not gonna get our water rights back.
No, and it's not for lack of trying.
No, and I get the impression that the people at the Division of Water Rights are very sympathetic, but they're also bound by state law.
Yes, exactly.
And they can't say yes to us and then no to the next person.
Exactly.
And their hands are kind of tied too. So
We have
Well,
several.
no, I haven't seen anything official from them yet. And
I think it's coming.
I'm pretty sure it is. Nathan Moses, we talked to him. He's managing the local office, I think, in Cedar City that also works in our area. And he's pretty sure that it's gonna be rejected. Also not, I mean, he says he has tried to plead our case, but he also recognizes that they can't really afford to set a precedent in the Colorado Basin with all its problems already without us. So yeah, thanks. That was great. Thanks for that, Amy.
I had just one other housekeeping
Oh,
item.
yeah.
So back in November, we got a letter from the IRS. They were requesting for Form 941-X, which is for payroll taxes.
Mhm.
John could not take care of this because the company was listed as Tigaboo Electric Improvement with the name of Chuck Bierenbach on it.
Okay.
So
A
I filled
blast
out,
from the past.
yeah. So I filled out a form 2848, which is it gives power of attorney to John Motley because he's the one who needs to take care of this. And I changed the name to Tigaboo Utility Improvement District, and we took Chuck Bierenbach off. I do have it. I have not put it in the mail because I wanted to consult with the board first. So if you all can just let me know if you agree to this.
Sounds like something that needs to be done.
All right, it'll go in the mail today. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that, Amy. I
Oh, sure.
appreciate that. Okay. Update on the fuel surcharge. We got our acknowledgement from the Public Service Commission. So we're ready to go. So now it's all up to you, Connie. You're gonna have to do the hard work.
I know, I'm ready.
Oh, good. Good. So that will go out for the first time in early May for April, right?
It depends. I guess it depends on the diesel, right? Today's diesel order wouldn't trigger the surcharge.
Oh, still not? Oh,
Yeah,
good.
no, yeah. So I'm pleased. Now we got diesel at I got bids. One of them was, I think it was, gosh, like I said, it was it was 326. It was 41 cents a gallon difference, and the other one was 285.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a
I
no-brainer.
just paid in California, I paid over $5 a gallon for plain old ordinary gas.
Yeah, no
Just a bit
doubt.
of
No.
stock.
So
Like, I guess I have to come home.
yeah, we got 6,650 gallons delivered today by Alphen, which should get us through at least a good 6 weeks. And we always have a cushion when we order. There's
Yeah.
always, 10, 12,000 gallons in reserve anyway. So
Good.
I wanted to clarify one thing. So are the people on standby, they're not paying the fuel surcharge?
They don't use anything. It's strictly based on usage.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, thank you.
yeah, and I think I'll verify. According to PSC, there's one more notice that needs to go out. They're big on notices as we talk about communication and notifications and records. So we'll send out another. I think it's specifically the language says customers and the public. Nobody that doesn't live in Ticaboo could probably care less, but in either way, we'll notify both and put out notices, just restating what we have and make sure we meet their technical requirements for that.
Yeah. Cool, thank you. If I have nothing further to report, so I think we can move on to management report.
Yeah, Yeah, you,
And
Ray,
then-
you want to do I've got 2 different slideshows for you guys. And they'll also be published to the public website, so we won't spend a lot of time elaborating on them.
Okay,
I've got just a year in summary, and then updated financials that are year to date for the end of 23 from Larson, finally, that look decent enough. They probably still need a little bit more going through, but we do have those 2. So I'll
thanks, go
start
ahead,
with that.
John.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna I can find where it went. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Well, I had it on here and now I don't see it. Let's see. Let me see if I can change this, and let me find this just a minute. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. You guys see that?
Yes, I
Okay.
don't see anything yet, just that it says you started screen sharing.
Okay. Yeah, it says it's loading.
Oh yeah, there
Here we
you are,
go.
I see,
Okay,
yeah, I
good deal.
see
Good
a
deal. Okay.
generator.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, this is just a brief coverage of some facts and numbers and statistics for the, of course, it wasn't quite a full year, but we're just going to call it the year of 23. A few items we'll cover here is our electric and power plant, fuel, water, solid waste and sewer, and then some 2024 needs and focus for us. For the power plant, some of what we have here is the replacement of the MQ generator that we, ended up deciding that it was better to buy one than to repair the other one due to the cost savings that we would see there. So we did that. Worked on the C9s, the communications were the ghost that cost money and time. The breaker that we ordered for one of the C9s, unfortunately, there's no ETA on it. We've gone backwards. It was going to be November, then December, then March, and now we have no ETA on the breaker. So we do operate one manually, and of course that's the one with the oil test that we're retesting now to see if it verifies as having some issues with the oil sample that we did on it. The next point of the revised method of running the C9s, it's the same thing as the communications, that they were having trouble communicating, where they would start back and forth every few hours. And that's a lot of extra fuel and wear and tear for those big machines to start and stop like that. So we started taking one out of the equation and letting one run as it should. And that helped save fuel and interrupted whatever the cat could not find with the communications, and while they were starting and stopping so often and swapping. We had no major outages or issues. We had one brownout back when a cold spell in the winter put a little bit too much load on the MQ, which at peak shot up to over 120 kilowatt demand. And then the cats took over. So there was a brief interruption there for that. Fuel for 23 calculated for the year about 7.5 gallons per hour. It was down from 22, which was about 8 gallons an hour, which probably had a lot to do with the MQ being back in service. That does help out. And then how we ran the machines to cut down on the switching again, which was a fuel problem. We're still looking with alternative and sustainable energy. I think that's the solution for everybody as we talk about, surcharges and revenue in the future. Of course, Alexa, we were on the call yesterday with the C2C agency that's helping us clarify what we're, going to ask for from any private company. And then we have 2 people that are still speaking with us, a company called ProBid Energy, and then another one called Horizon Power, that say they can build a grid. So we're just waiting to see proposals from them as to what that, entails too. As I mentioned too, we resampled the C9s again this a little over a week ago, and just waiting on the results to see how number 2 comes back. If it comes back with the high lead in it again, and then we'll take, action and make plans from there. So this just shows some of our fuel purchases in 22 and 23. It did average a little bit less per gallon. You can see the average price per gallon in 22 was $3.95. And then 23, we're at $3.56. So that did help out a little there to have an overall, average price per gallon lower. We did purchase a little bit more in 23. Part of that carries over into this year too, that we did stock up due to the price going down. Yeah, since I put this together, we saw we had about 7,900 gallons on hand, and then the bids I did put in, and again we made the purchase today from Alphen at $2.85 a gallon. So that was good. Again, to be under that $3 trigger for the fuel surcharge right now. The MQ itself averages around 5.65 gallons per hour for fuel usage. That's due to the fact that number one, it's a smaller machine and has less to rotate and pull, like fans and just, rotating mass. And then number two, the loads are lower, of course, with the exception of when it got colder and people were using heat. That does send demand up quite a bit there. This just shows a 3-year gallon per average usage that you can see in 23, we were 7.5, which aligns back with 21. 22, it did spike a little. And again, that was probably due to the absence of the MQ and the issues that one had with dying. So we're on track. The averages are where they should be, year to year where we want to be. So that's always a good thing to see that. And I usually measure fuel consumption 2 to 3 times a week through the day tank and the tank farm tanks, and of course just basic math, seeing where we are and what we're using and what we look like too. Our next section is water. We had no drinking violations in 2023 for any testing violations or bad tests, so that's always a good thing that we want to see. I'll make a comment that's not in here, that this is something, as we talk about water rights and money and revenue and, the district being solvent and sustainable, Jones and DeMille played a part in our water rights, and they do owe us money. So as we speak about paying for future rights, I would ask the board to consider Jones and DeMille paying for those rights, since they played a role in that. Again, that's a lot of money, that we paid out that we'll see in legal fees, and then what we lost too. But our 2023 Consumer Confidence Report is in process. So that's something we do yearly. That'll be published for the public to see as far as the, water quality. We always have revolving tests. Some of them are 2 years, some are 3. We did one for the radon and radionuclides, that passed. We have a new water-related issue, which is the lead line inventory. I don't think we have any, and the keyword is think, but they did have a way to reach out for assistance to help conduct that. So I've reached out and applied for assistance and helping with that. But it's a new, what am I trying to say, program and requirement that a lot of it came about because of Flint, Michigan, which obviously that's a good reason to have that. Nobody wants to be drinking lead tainted water. Repairing number 2 solar is a top priority. Again, we did identify what was wrong with it, and I was able to work with tech support from the company, TCI, who manufactured the part, and did some tests, and we ended up ordering a new a filter. You guys saw the pictures the board did where the wire had arced and caused an issue, and it also burned the PCB, which is the printed circuit board in that filter. We just have a whole new assembly coming. We had budgeted, I think, right at $5,000 for repair on that. Right now, we're about $1,300 into it, so we should come in under budget on repairing that. And we did also go up and check number one. The company did let me know that those connections have to be checked and retorqued. If not, they can arc and cause what happened on number two. So for preventive maintenance, we did that. You can kind of see our water pumping. We always pump. There's always waste and inefficiencies in water. So nothing too significantly different. I think I left 23 off here. I think it was around, 8 million gallons pumped and 7 sold. So we're right within that. You can see from 21 to 22. So, or you can say it. No, I did have it in there. Yeah, 8.5 million gallons pumped and 7 million gallons sold. So it lines up with 21 and 22. Part of our water is the fire hydrant and cutoff maintenance and exercising, making sure those are working properly too. Solid waste and sewer, no major issues there. We continue to flush there to help along with that. That's normal. And then, annually we clean the lagoons of reeds and burn them. And then we typically switch from one lagoon to the other. They never fill. They don't come close to that, but it's, better to have them overbuilt, obviously, than underbuilt. But we still swap them and do the cleaning, usually toward April-ish, mid-April, as far as that goes, as burning season and weather allows there. Our next one is strategic operational planning and goals. As I mentioned, looking for alternative energy and PPA agreements, if somebody's willing to do that. And of course, that would be something that everybody would see and would be well discussed and vetted, obviously. Other goal is to rebuild one of the two Cat C9s. One of them, again, with the lead levels in the oil, is something would take the next steps, which would be flushing the oil and running and sampling again from there to see if, those lead levels remain. It's not a good thing. It's like a blood test for a human. When you've been eating too much bacon and you have cholesterol in your blood, the lead is not a good sign for a machine. So we'll do the necessary steps on that to see if that, remains an issue. And if we do, then we have to, look at rebuilding sooner than later. We still want to continue certifications and education. It's nonstop, for anything from wastewater to cross connection to, above ground storage tanks, which is a new regulation. So there's always something that is due. So we continue to do that and make sure, not only that we do it to satisfy the need and the requirement, but to have that expertise to know what we're doing. When we look at something too, I think you guys know I took the cross connection test and a guy had to proctor it. And he did offer to give me the answers. And I said, actually, I know this. I appreciate the offer, but my goal is to really, if I take a test, I want to know why I'm choosing an answer. So I don't want to take a test just to take a test and not retain it. And that benefits everybody, to have that knowledge. So we also want to continue to build reserve funds for, obviously number one would be the generators, and then anything else unexpected. Some things work up until the minute they don't. So we have to have, reserves and money. And you'll see in the year-to-date financials, we're starting to accomplish that. So that's a positive thing. I also mentioned, you heard me, we talked about accounting and the cost of the audit. As we talk about trust, that's trust but verify. The audit will take the subjectivity out of trust, and that makes sure we're doing the things that we should. that the state requires, and of course the public sees that. Again, the financials in transition to QuickBooks, the state let me know that entities bigger than us, which includes small cities, they use QuickBooks. They don't use an outside accountant. And no offense, but the accountants we use are just they're not on time. Again, it's March, and we're looking at the end of 23 finally, and it's just bad money. We can go to QuickBooks and produce our financials monthly, and they'll be more accurate as well too. So that's something we're in the process of transitioning, away from Larson, and we've made steps to that and cut their yearly fees from 12,000 to 9,000. So we have made a 25% reduction, but 9,000 is still too much for the product and the timing and the quality of it that we get from those guys. Again, we want to build on success from the 9 months of 23, having more knowledge and being prepared for everything. Again, using the audit as an example. And then look for upgrades. We talked about grids and items like that too, to be ready. So the summary was, it was a year of transition in 23, obviously. I consider it a financial and operational success. I think the financials will back that up as well. I think everybody put in a lot of work. So everybody's to be applauded for that, for spending time and money. Time is money. So people spent personal time, for meetings and reaching out. So I applaud the board for that. So that's that one. So I'm going to get out of this one. Let's see. I'll ask, do you guys have any questions about that? And then if you do, I'll answer them. And if not, I'll go on to the,
I have a couple of quick questions, if you don't
sure. What do you
mind,
got?
John. Okay. What happened to the old MQ?
It is still in a cocoon in covered storage in the back of a Tickaboo boatyard.
Is that worth anything, or is it just in the way?
I think it probably has some value. We've been waiting to evaluate it to see. Alexa, sort of kind of waiting for a light bulb to go off. As far as what to do with it. The engine is a tough one.
It's still on the old trailer, or did you move the new MQ to the trailer?
No, they both came with a trailer on them. And the trailer has value because it's a nice heavy duty trailer. So there's some value there. The problem with the dead MQ, is the type of engine, the Isuzu, is hard to get parts for. And then the generator itself attached to that has 80,000 hours. On the one hand, there's some parts that fit the other one, the generator and items like that. So that's something we can talk about and look into and see what the value for keeping it, versus maybe selling would be to the district.
Okay. And you mentioned training, and I just realized that there is this annual training that board members need to do.
Yeah.
Could you kind of guide us in what we need to do and point us toward the hoops so we can jump?
Yeah, I can do that. I think I got the notice too, and I get them mixed up. I forget if it's the archives or the treasurer that has that. Yeah, you just all have to take it individually, as do I too. But I can update you guys on that.
I can let you know. Amy just did hers, but Amy's got hers already. John, I think we already put the certificates in the Dropbox for Hinton. But Amy had to do grandma because she's a records officer, and she had to do that annual open public meeting. So Alexa, the only thing you and Mike have to do is the annual open public meeting.
Oh, okay.
You did it last year. I think you had to do 3 last year, but the one about the one is for your whole term, so you don't have to do that again.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you would if, if you got if you continued after 4 years on the board, you gotta do it once every appointed session. But
Okay,
so the only, for the rest of your time, you only have to do the open meeting.
okay, I will do the grandma thing.
No, not the grandma,
Yeah, it's the open meeting.
open meeting.
Open meeting.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing, because I got that notice too, and I'm required as well, so.
Yeah. Okay, okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
All right,
No,
we'll go to this last slide, and again, this will be available for the public to see. Again, it does take going through, and to be honest, I'm still looking it over. There's things that, again, as we go to our own QuickBooks, I think that we'll iron some of this out, and I'll point out some examples of that. But I'll go through an overview with everyone, and again, it'll be on the website for review. Just looking at the income, you can see where it goes to obviously the categories, and then the budget, and then the amount that we were over or under budget. Electric looked good. It was a little over 19,000 over budget. And that's where you want to be. When you do budgets, you obviously want to be under in expenses and overall income. So that looked good. Water, you can see we're a little bit under there. Again, that's a normal variance or close to it. Some financial analysts use 5% or 5,000. That's close. Again, you never know, for sure. And then sewer is the same way, very small amount there. But if you look at our total income, the 506, 392.50 compared to the budget of the 488.70, 783, then we're a positive. We were, $17,000 and some change over budget there. So you always, when you come in that's always a good thing, to be over there where you want to be there. As we go to expenses, you can kind of see payroll. That was just some payroll that was left over. And of course, it's down to budget because we don't do payroll anymore with a management contract. Administrative expensive, get a little bit cloudy, and these are things I want to expand on as far as digging deeper into them and get better at knowing what they are. And then you see where I highlighted computer and internet expense. We don't spend that much. I think we spent $500 on a new laptop and a printer. Some of that are subscriptions, mixed in with that, and I want to iron that out. Now, I think going to QuickBooks in-house will help with that. So that's an area to look at because I think computer and internet expense and dues of subscription need to be, ironed out better and more detailed. As we go down through expenses, you can see, the normal stuff, interest expense, general supplies, office overhead, and then we have professional fees. You can see down to, which includes the NLP management fee. And then of course, again, what stands out to me is our legal fees. We're budgeted at 20,000. We did come in under, but that entire $19,427,000 was devoted to water rights. And again, I know the board will discuss that in the future with Jones and DeMille and, money that we're out and water rights that we're out, which, there needs to be something equitable worked out. That's really what sticks with me day after day, knowing that we're in the position we in and out $20,000, to boot. So you can see on the fees, they were higher than budgeted, and a lot of that has to do with the management fee. It wasn't budgeted for the 23 budget, which is normal. And of course, we did amend the budget through the state to account for that. So that is been accounted for there. Let's see, as we go to our next page here, again, other fees. Of course, the big one here as we look under electric expenses was generator cost, and they all are. Fuel ended up being 288,000 on 160,000 budget, so we were over there. And of course, we amended that budget as required too. But our overall expense for electric, as everybody can see, was the 339 versus the 190. So we were 148,000 over. And of that, it was really fuel. You know, again, that's the toughest one. We made adjustments to that this year, looking at $3 a gallon, and then the fuel surcharge, and that's where we seek to balance our budget. You know, that really is the biggest hit in the entire budget, and rightfully so, because it's hard to predict the price of fuel, you know, far out, obviously, and then what we use for the generation diesel is, you know, expensive too. So it's not shocking that it's our biggest cost, but it's obviously our most, you know, painful cost too for making electricity and the services that we provide. The other expenses you can see were water related for, you know, lab testing. If you look specifically, the labs were higher than budgeted because of some tests. Some of those tests were, gosh, I think 1,500 or 2,000 for some of the specialized tests that are due periodically. You know, they're not yearly, so that's why that's higher. Sewer, again, we're in line there. Same with solid waste. As we can see here with our expenses. And you see here's our total expenses here, which were 527,900 on the budget of 365, which were 161,000 over. So our NOI, as you can see here, was a negative 36. Now you can see I highlighted the budget of the 122,826. That figure, that 122,826, is a called additions to fund balance. So it's not real money. That's a budgeted amount. It's not money. So it looks higher, but fortunately the board made good decisions, and we did actually fund if we go down. So as we look at other income, property sales, the 126,993, we were able to meet that 122,826 budgeted, and then a few thousand over. So obviously that helped our net income come out to 106,210.07 for the year. So the sales really bailed us out as an asset. So, which, you know, that's why you have assets. So at the end of the day, you know, we were able to cover the addition to fund balance with real money that came from a source, and ended up with a net amount of 106,210.07. So I think as of a few days ago or yesterday, we had about 185,000 in the bank, you know, total too. I know people have asked, well, where did the money go? It's there, but it's promised in terms of, you know, today's fuel purchase is going to be, gosh, around 20,000, and then we have bonds that start back in April. You know, by the time the end of the year is done, they're at about 56,000, you know, total for our bonds for the water and electric and sewer bonds. But if anybody has any questions about the financials, welcome to ask. But again, they'll be on the public website too. You know, it really kind of takes looking them over and analyzing them too.
And remind me, I think I saw a notice that we were up to date uploading stuff to the transparency website. Am I remembering
Yes.
that correctly? So,
Yes.
and anybody who wants to do a deep dive in the details by line item can go there.
Yeah, no, we make sure that we stay up to date on that. That's one of those things that as you start to get it down, you know, you anticipate it. And that's some of the items we've taken over from Larson too. They were doing it and they would be behind, and we've started doing a lot more of that, you know, with the state auditor and the income and revenue reports, and, you know, the taxes and items like that. It needs to be done in-house anyway. It saves time and money. So we
Mhm.
are, yeah, up to date on all those items. You're
Is there,
correct.
is there any way that you can stick the link to that website in on the public notice website?
Certainly,
To
yeah,
go
I can do
go
that.
along with the summary that you just provided
Yeah,
for,
we can do that. No, certainly. Yeah,
for
and again, Larson and they used to do more detailed stuff, and we did rely on them to continue what they used to do, and it's obviously they did not. So it's hard paying the same for less. I mean, yeah. Uh, and I know that, we had a girl and she did a good job. Her name was Sophie, but I finally looked back and saw where Sophie had been TUID's accountant for less than a year. Like she took over in July, I think, of 22. And then we got another new one. And really was off the reservation for months. We didn't hear from her at all until I reached out to one of the partners to see what was going on. So it's almost like they hand us off to the newest intern, for training. And I get it. I'm sure it's a small amount, and they're a big company, but our money's important to
and
us for that. Yeah, it's really tough getting um, stuff out of them. We get emails that go unanswered for weeks, and then multiple follow-ups. So that's the reason for in-housing QuickBooks and operating it. And if and again, the stuff I could see, I've saw a couple of emails that I could find that Chip was asking about September financials in November. And by the time, if you're 2 months behind, then you're wasting your time looking at month to month, 2 months later, your ability to do anything and react. And then we still have that same trouble with quarterlies too. We went to those because that's what Larson started doing, which is not a bad thing on the amount of money that we bring in and operate. It's not a huge thing, but it still has to be. You still can't, do a quarterly. Again, it's March. We're still 3 months later, and analyzing the previous year. So that's why I'm excited to do QuickBooks in house and be more nimble. And if somebody wants to see something, probably produce it in 5 minutes and get it out too. But yeah, those again, both those presentations will be on the Utah Public Notice site, and we can put the link to the Transparent Utah site on there
great.
too.
Well, thank you, John. John or Ray, anything else you want to bring to our attention from the management perspective? Connie? Okay, well,
I-
thank you
I
very
think that's a
much.
no. Yeah.
Alexa, if you don't mind, Alexa, I got
Sorry,
a
I
question.
was on mute. We have an echo in here unless I have a mute on.
Okay,
No, we're researching the QuickBooks, and we just need to know how many users. I'm looking at the reports to see what kind of reports we need exactly, and if that particular package can provide that, but it ranges in price from 30 to 200. So probably somewhere in the middle of the road would be good. And right now I'm just researching, making sure that, I think we can do everything, and I feel like we can. So it's not a ton of new things to add, I don't think so.
well, I appreciate your good work. I know all the administrative details come down to you, and I feel they're well taken care of, so thanks for that.
Thank you.
Alexa,
Mhm.
if I can have a second, I won't keep you long. I know we've been an hour and a half. I think it's hard to be the headliner. John should have went last, because that's really superb financials for the first year of managing a company that we had no really experience with before. But so kudos to both John and Connie for what they've done there. But just to make a point on that well number 2 pump, I think it's important that that's operated on solar, and I think John did an analysis on how much diesel we've been using on it. since that part went down. But I think the most important thing that you all should be aware of is, it was all funded through a bond. And I know through finance, when you go back to get bonds or loans or whatever the case may be, it doesn't look so good. Your credibility's shot when you've been given money to purchase something and you let it sit so long not working. So I'm glad to see that that's back up. It really leads a lot to our credibility in the future for any future funding that we need to get. And then the second thing is we have to really tip our hats to John and Connie, but originally, Connie wasn't considered to be part of TUID when she first came back to work for North Lake Powell. But she's stepped into the role, and I think everybody will agree that she's an integral part of the success that we're experiencing right now. John's doing a fabulous job, but Connie wasn't really on the radar for doing what she's doing, but she's jumped right in and taken it over, and she's doing fabulous. So thank you, Connie. If you weren't doing it, we'd have to be really struggling right now. And that ties into getting the QuickBooks. Originally, we weren't, we were just basing all of our endeavors upon what has happened in the past, and Larson has always handled the accounting, so we didn't figure that as being a part of our scheme. But it looks like we can take it over and save TUID some money, and it doesn't look like it'll really cost too much more burden on North Lake Powell's management fee. So those are all pluses for the district. And then lastly, Alexa is just Amy gave a good report on the county water situation with Wayne County. And that was a great lead that Phil Lyman sent to us. But the question is should we get on the agenda for their next commissioner meeting, which I think they said will be late May or early June? Or obviously you don't need that right now, but should we get the ball rolling? And that meeting's in Loa. So I can easily go to it to express to the commissioners what we're up against and what we're trying to do. Because the next step, they take those minutes to Nathan Moses to get the state approval, and then that's when the willing and dealing takes place. So you should let us know if you want to get on that agenda for their next meeting, or should we just keep playing it by ear for a while?
Well, the next meeting is not until June. I think we should, by that time, we should be in a position to discuss that sensibly. We'll have the information, and the state engineer will have sent her formal rejection of her application. So I think we should get on the agenda. It's always easier to be taken off the agenda than to be put on at the last minute. So, and I would pursue that avenue as a possibility.
That's all.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Unless anybody has anything else to bring up, we confirm the next meeting, April 10 at 5:30, be an evening meeting. We've had some discussions with different people about maybe making that an in-person meeting. And if that happens, then we'll just make sure that everybody knows. If everybody turns out to be available on that day. And the next item is adjournment. If anybody wants to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I see your lips move, Mike.
I'll second.
Okay, everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So, well, we are adjourned, and thank you all, and thank all members of the public who stuck with us for this long, and we'll see you all next month, either online or in person.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay,
Right. Right,
bye-bye.
good day.
Thank you, everyone.